We proceed with coronavirus and travel. My friend, there is this decision allowing only passengers who are seated, level seat, to travel on our public means of transport. It really gives me trouble. Standing on buses isn't allowed. However, vehicles are the same, roads are the same, and passengers are the same. I know half a loaf is better than no bread. I commend this decision. But it's also not enough. How many meters are there between one passenger and another if we have to observe physical distancing? Traveling with the seated and leaving behind the rest might suggest that the seated passengers are virus-free and the rest are probably infected. Those in seats continue sneezing and coughing as usual, of course, a little more comfortably. About 4 weeks ago, a guy sitting next to me sneezed in a daladala minibus in Mwanza. Scared, I said, "Lord, have mercy." I didn't know what to do. Then he sneezed the second time, and I was about to jump through the window. The daladala was full to the brim, and no one was wearing a mask of any size, shape, or form. The boda motorcyclists take as many passengers as the motorcycles can carry. Imagine 2 meters between passengers on a motorcycle. President Yoweri Museveni has banned such public trips in Uganda. That is, even if you have to accompany a patient to hospital, you must have a permit from a local government authority. President Paul Kagame, with more than 250 cases in Rwanda, calls for continued cooperation to fight the coronavirus. For President Jomo Kenyatta, with more than 500 cases, you can go about your business during the day, but at night you have to observe the curfew and stay home. In some regions of Kenya and even Congo, DRC, lockdown is in place. It's like a cobweb story. Outsiders strive to enter, insiders struggle to exit. In Congo, there have been more than 680 cases. I hope you're connecting dots like Steve Jobs. Burundi, with 19 coronavirus cases, goes on with their Premier Football League, and with general elections around the corner, political campaigns are likely to mar the fight against the coronavirus. Let's hope football and elections aren't the launchpad of infection there. Here, we are getting ready to go for a drink or two. Sorry, for an evening discussion. We don't swear, we don't smoke, we don't drink, but we leave our bloody cigarettes at the pub. Some say the best cure for Covid-19 is a glass of K-Vant. We are geared up to paint the town red, so we are heading to the salon. But the coronavirus has somehow saved the salon's budget. The devil isn't as black as it is painted. Customers who are afraid to get their heads, eyes, and lips touched by hairdressers are no longer visiting salons in the name of beauty. Beauty before age, but health before beauty. Tanzania is a beautiful country, and there is no hurry in Africa, so they say. Beauty without the virus is what we need, and we need it now. By the way, Tanzania is not only beautiful, it is also peaceful. Former Pope Benedict XVI said, "Tanzania is one of the most peaceful countries in the world. It does not deny sleep to the Vatican." In South Africa, there are people who disobeyed the order not to assemble. Then they gathered at a wedding party as usual, while chanting and dancing the night away. Guess what happened next? The bride and bridegroom, led by the MC, and their best man and bridesmaid were rounded up by police officers, swaggering regally under a haze of twinkling stars. I think the honeymoon took place behind bars, with the brides reminiscing the beauty of their wedding outfits, probably made in Wuhan. Remember too that the Americans, Europeans, and Chinese, with great scientific, technological, and economic power, are petrified by the virus. Look at Trump. He has even refused to wear a face mask in public, despite his wife insisting it is mandatory. The World Health Organization hasn't given us the latest findings on the effect of COVID-19 on marital relations. I hope one of my students will write a thesis about this effect soon. Heads of state and government amongst the so-called developed countries are affected by the virus. The coronavirus does not respect a president or a king, a prime minister or deputy minister. If it has shaken the Vatican, what will happen to the remotest Catholic outstation? If it has traumatized New York, what will happen to my village? For the rich and famous who have been flying out of Africa to seek first-class treatment abroad can't do so now. How can they travel? Who will attend to them? The rich also cry. The virus is treating us equitably, well, up to a point. Let me touch upon facts, fiction, and fake news. Bad news has never been worse. Gossip and hearsay are at their best. From the genesis of the virus to the number of cases and exit strategies, everything should be taken with a pinch of salt. Don't listen to everything and believe it at face value. Again, do not spread lies and rumors. Try to look for reliable sources of information. How will you identify them? I let you solve this puzzle. But if your one and only source of news is WhatsApp, think again. Find people who are a bit educated and exchange ideas with them. Those who have been privileged to have an education, don't be stingy. Do research, share findings, educate society, provide accurate and timely information. This isn't the time to sit on the fence or rest on our oars. We must not pretend we don't see COVID-19. Even if we think it isn't real, the fact is that it will affect us mercilessly. We must take care of ourselves and of others. We shouldn't be worse than COVID-19 itself. Let's not bury our heads in the sand like an ostrich in the Serengeti, while the lion is watching our backsides, salivating with a focus on the tender parts of the anatomy. You can be sure that when you are praying to God to protect you from a roaring, hungry lion in front of you, the very lion is praying to the same God to bless him for the delicious gift he's about to receive from his bounty. Are you going to tell me that's the will of God again? It's also written, do not put the Lord your God to test. Why is common sense so rare? Truth be told, we need good leadership in this battle. It's time we led by examples. Remember, a fish rot starts in the head. I'm saying all this in order to start a rather continue a discussion on our response to the coronavirus pandemic and to do a self-assessment of our behavior towards COVID-19. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. This virus is real, it is dangerous, it is fatal. French President Emmanuel Macron says this is a war, a battle. Everyone has to do their part. In short, the catastrophe that afflicts Australia, Canada, and Switzerland, amongst others, might sweep us away. If the virus can destroy a green wood, how about a dry one? They have equipment and we have none. They have cash reserves, we have none. They have warehouses, we have none. That is, you and I have none. Medical doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers are 100 times more than here. There are so many of them in Europe, America, and China, but not enough. Hospitals in the US and Russia are overloaded. In this situation, the responsibility of governments all over the world to protect their citizens is huge, and we have to support our governments. Let citizens protect our countries, and let the faithful protect our religious denominations. Remember, states belong to citizens. Places of worship belong to the faithful. The rest are servants. We are not living in a monarchy or a theocracy. We are living in a democracy. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Many in Europe seem to respect government directives. Few reject them. Education and force are used. Here, many of us are less cooperative. Brutal force is used. Less education, more punches. I hope you remember what happened in Kenya and Uganda. At any rate, being pig-headed won't do us any good. Now, providing education is one thing. Internalizing knowledge is another thing. We teachers, though we trust that students understand what they learn, we are constantly testing their knowledge by giving them exams, tests, and even quizzes. It is similar to teaching a boda motorcyclist to wear a helmet. If you see him still carrying the helmet at the back like a piece of luggage, instead of wearing it on his head, know that the lesson hasn't sunk in the head deep enough. I'm surprised to hear someone question if COVID-19 can reach a village. Which village doesn't receive a visitor? Or house residents who never leave the village? Another one says the coronavirus remedy will be manufactured in Africa, and in Bukoba to be precise. And someone speaks with confidence. Probably yes. But what is this certainty based on? Yet, some say the coronavirus will go away by itself. Or let's just get used to it. That's when I feel confused left, right, and center. I grope in the mental dark, simultaneously bamboozled by a combination of what feels like nausea, hiccups, and heartburn. It's mind-boggling, to say the least. The coronavirus will be eradicated by education, discipline, and radical decisions to eradicate it. Let's not deceive one another. I see 3 anti-coronavirus tactics. The first is a compromise. For example, to tell a person, please cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze, or avoid gatherings. The second is coercion. For example, being punished if you fail to cover your mouth, or if you take part in unnecessary gatherings. The third is willing to cooperate. You will cover your mouth at will and stay home of your own accord. If your house is on fire, you won't be pampered to put the fire out, nor will you be forced to put it out. You will take action of your own accord. The same for the coronavirus. My friend, we've got one task. It is the eradication of the coronavirus. We must also be united. The words of Mwalimu Nyerere declaring a war against Uganda's Idi Amin in 1978 should also help us with the war with Covid-19. We have the reason to defeat it. We have the ability to defeat it, and we have the will to defeat it. The coronavirus will go. Where there is a will, there is a way. Now, kudos and condolences. I extend my heartfelt condolences to all those who lost their loved ones to COVID. Those who are ill, I wish them a speedy and complete recovery. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. Amen. I sincerely congratulate those taking care of the people infected with the coronavirus. I call upon governments, the private sector, the civil society, and all people of goodwill to continue providing material and emotional support to healthcare workers so that they can protect themselves and protect others. I dare say that healthcare workers may be the number one martyrs of the millennium. They are risking their lives. Thumbs up, healthcare workers. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for the sake of others. Let's protect ourselves, protect others, and ask God to remove this scourge. I believe the Almighty God will lead us safely. But don't ignore President Museveni's words that God is too busy to look after idiots. He has other fish to fry. Africans must not ignore the coronavirus or giggle at its thought. We should not despise the Westerners as weaklings or mock the Chinese by dubbing them little coronas. Mwalimu Nyerere loathed racism up to the hilt. The sin that is racism doesn't die. Racism is worse than COVID. Ladies and gentlemen, never laugh at other people or ridicule them. Mahatma Gandhi was convinced that handsome is as handsome does. Thank God there are people who have survived the coronavirus. This is very good news indeed. The cup is half full, not half empty. If you get COVID, it doesn't mean that's the end of your life. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has recovered from COVID. You might be lucky as well, even if Boris may not be your first cousin. I know there are still people angry at those who ruled us, the colonists and colonialists. I hear they want to finish us by exporting the coronavirus to Africa. Isn't this madness? I don't quite believe it. That the Europeans failed and now are trying again. In this second scramble for Africa, as Kofi Annan put it, the Chinese are also trying their luck. But this time round, it is not colonization, but coronization, or the combination of the two. Unity is strength. Let's all unite. We shall win. Let's chant together, we shall overcome someday. Remember the three components of music: harmony, melody, and rhythm. Harmony is European, melody is Asian, and rhythm is African. Remove Africa and the triad collapses. What God has joined together, let now COVID put asunder. The First World War came and passed. The second one came and passed. The third will pass. But this is not the time to put the guns down. My friend, I remember last time we met when I was teaching at St. Michael's Nursery School at Otiende, Nairobi in Kenya, and Kibera Slum Primary School also in Nairobi. Then I had taught at Kemondo Primary School and Kashozi, also known as Cathedral Secondary School in Bukoba, Tanzania. I also taught at the Hekima Language Services in Lang'ata, Karen, Nairobi, as well as at the Apostles of Jesus Philosophicum Major Seminary in Nairobi. From there, I moved to Tanzania and taught at Kashasha Technical College, Bukoba, and later on to Bugando University College of Health and Allied Sciences in Mwanza. I led development studies seminars at the University of Dar es Salaam. I now teach at St. Augustine University of Tanzania in Mwanza, and sometimes at the University of Fechter in Germany and the University of Innsbruck in Austria. Well, if you are really attached to education, you cannot leave her, not in sickness or in health. I was also assigned to serve as Director of International Programs, Head of Department, Dean of Faculty, and for some time as Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. I currently work as Executive Secretary of the Association of Catholic Universities and Higher Institutes of Africa and Madagascar. Now, the coronavirus has made me stay home to stay safe. Nevertheless, education must continue to be provided even online. If God is on our side, who can be against us? I hear some people here don't even have a clue about what to do when they are home. Be creative. Try and turn the lockdown into an opportunity. Conclusion. My friend, all isn't gloom and doom. Don't give up. Cheer up. Work hard. Exercise. Read something useful. Maintain communication. But let our mobile phones help us more than our feet. Smile and don't forget to pray. The coronavirus will pass. We shall win. Remember, charity begins at home, but never ends there. Please don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. This is where the virus passes through. Likewise, do not touch your neighbor's eyes, nose, or mouth for the same reason. Finally, please greet our brothers and sisters in Angola, Cameroon, Egypt, and Zimbabwe. Do say hi to the rest in other countries as well. Please tell them I'm well and I love them so much. I wish you wisdom, courage, peace, and good health. Your brother, George Mutalemwa, Malimbe, Mwanza, Tanzania. Thank you.